Welcome back to my channel where I'm going to help you go from having nothing to wear to always having something to wear and feeling more stylish. This is part 2 of a 2-part series where we cover the topic of investment pieces. Items to invest in for your wardrobe, for your personal style. In part 1, we covered the what to invest in, and I sprinkled in a couple of foods for thought. Foods, plural. I offered a couple of thoughts, a couple of dot points around how to choose the best investment pieces for you, which were a little bit outside of the standard 5 things, you know, shoes, bags, belts, blazer, socks. I'm just kidding. What's the other one? The top 5. Let's just revisit part 1. We've got belts, coats, bags, shoes, and jewelry. And in this part, we're going to be talking about how to attain investment pieces without breaking the bank or in a savvy way. I got some tips for you because as someone who's gone through that journey of discovering my personal style and then slowly upgrading my wardrobe, this is the first time I've really broken it down. And here's a little bit of background. For most of my life, basically gone through a decade of personal development or a conscious journey. So I'm aware that I'm in personal development. I was also growing my business, and during that time I invested a lot of money in personal development, in coaching, in business programs. You know, all of this is like knowledge based, and then I'd also invest a lot in experiences like holidays and dining out and things like that, and also with the intention to grow my assets. So for me, my favorite way of looking at growth and transformation in general is as a big picture, as a whole. So when we talk about investment pieces for your wardrobe, that's one aspect of your life which is going to have a direct impact on how you feel, but it's also going to have a direct impact on your money. Or is it? If you find a savvy way to attain investment pieces without directly negatively impacting money, then it's a win-win situation. And that's what we're going to uncover today. But again, going back to the story, like when I first started my transformation, a lot of my investment went into knowledge, information, experience, non-tangible things, which then it came to the point where I'm like, wow, I'm really ready for this transformation to reflect outwardly, like I'm ready to embody. And it wasn't so much this exact decision, but I found myself being drawn more and more to changing the way I looked externally, like how I dressed. And there was kind of like this unknown formula. I don't know, I didn't think of dressing as kind of like a formula, but it was kind of like I could see and I could feel that there was this difference between dressing like I'm getting to know who I am and on the journey to clarifying versus I know who I am. Ooh, goosebumps. I know how I want to represent myself. There's a very distinct feeling between those two. One is the journey to clarity and one is I'm clear and I'm ready to express that. My solar plexus is doing some cartwheels. But with that all said, I realized that shifting spend or shifting investment from knowledge to actual tangible fashion, it was a process. As part of my personal process, probably this is a money mindset thing, but I had to get comfortable with the idea that I was about to drop 4 times more, 5 times more on a piece of clothing than I would have in the past. So, and I don't know, part of me wants to be vague about pricing, but part of me is like, no, let's be specific. And the reason I wanted to be vague was because I was like, well, what is expensive to one person is super affordable to another. So what I would love to highlight to you isn't the exact dollar amounts. What I would like to highlight to you and offer is the thought of what your interpretation of this stretch is. It's like percentages, right? So let's say for me, I would be okay to spend at about 50 to 80 bucks on a top. Before that, I'd be okay to spend 20 to $50 on a top. And it was just like this increasing value. Whereas now I think it's totally reasonable to spend up to $300 on a top. If it's over that, then I feel like, again, it's outside of my comfort zone. But it's not good, it's not bad, it's just outside of my comfort zone. And so we all have our comfort zone, and we also have our capacity. Comfort zone and capacity don't always intersect. That's a whole other topic. But as someone who has all of these interests as to how to grow my life and improve my life, fashion is one aspect, but it's not the entire aspect. And therefore, to me, this is my personal opinion, it didn't make sense to put all of my money in fashion. That's just me, right? With that said, I did want to elevate my wardrobe, and I wanted to do it in a savvy way where I could still have other experiences, where I could still grow my assets, where I could still invest in coaching because that's really important to me. And I still had a desire to be savvy in what I spent on fashion. So that's the entire background of this, and that's kind of the premise of where these tips and experience comes from. All right, I got my notes. Here we go. Have a look at your wardrobe as something that you build over time. You don't necessarily have to have everything all at once. That sounds like the movie. Yeah, it doesn't have to be. It can be like that if you have the comfort and capacity to do so. And one of the benefits of looking at your wardrobe building as a long-term thing is that new designs always come. And so if you buy everything all at once, it's almost in the anticipation that no further beautiful designs will come out in the future, but they always do. And that's something that I learned about. And that's something that I really started to embrace as well. Because you know, when sale time comes and you're like, gotta get everything. But sometimes like there's a very different feeling from like panic buying because it's sale time versus really being able to see the characteristics of pieces that you want to buy. And for example, if you're buying a jacket, you're looking at the lines in the collar or the lapel, and you're looking at the type of buttons it has. You're looking at where it sits on your body, whether you need tailoring or not. And sometimes it's just the moment. Sometimes it's not sale time. Sometimes you just find the piece and it's time to get it because that's the design. For me, that was like this sequin blazer. So it's not something to wear all the time, everywhere, but it is a beautiful statement piece that can be worn over and over again. Why? It's a classic style. A blazer is classic. What makes it a statement is the sequin. So if I ever have any events to go to and I want some sparkle and I want to stand out or I want to feel special, I'm gonna whip up this blazer. Even if I've worn it before, even if people have seen me wear it before, I don't care. I love the design. It's classic, it's flattering. And so when I saw it be available, I bought it. And had I bought all of my investment pieces all at once, I might not have seen this because I'm no longer looking.
What is it? This one. My blinders.
Got my blinders on already and I've actually shut them because I'm all complete. Now, if you don't like shopping, maybe you want to do everything all at once. However, if you are really looking for a long-term sort of transformation, a really great mindset to go into this with is like, my wardrobe and my style is a long-term project, and it actually makes shopping so much more enjoyable. It really, really, really does, because you're never really panic buying and you're never really hastily trying to complete something. You're doing it with some urgency and you're gifting yourself time to be able to experience what you really like and like learn what you really like. So that's my top one, is to look at your wardrobe build and your style build as a long-term journey.
Yeah, delicious.
All right, point number 2. I kind of mentioned this already before, but this is it officially: abundance. All right, so just have a think about this. Fashion comes and goes, but designs don't always return. Fashion moves, right? Things come out, it's new in season, then it goes on sale, then it's sold out, then it's gone. You know, sometimes you might be in that position where you see a design that you really like and you're like, look, I feel I don't have the capacity. It's just too far out of my comfort zone. Just know that fashion is in abundance. We're lucky enough that lots of designs, lots of brands release and re-release items. Never really feel too far in haste about buying something, because time passes and the next thing you know, you're okay with not having it. There are some pieces that you might be like, I'm so sad that I didn't get that.
Not me. Reminiscing on something I missed out on.
But honestly, at this stage, I don't know if there's anything that I really missed out on. Okay, there was one pair of pants and I would have been truly, truly, truly sad if I didn't get myself those pants, because they were these brown leather pants from Kookai, and why I love them so much was because the cut. But I hadn't seen them when they were newly released, and then by the time I discovered it, it was because I received an email that said it's sale time and here's the pants. So they didn't have my size, and then I was really sad because I've been wanting leather pants for a long time, but these ones were just the perfect cut. Anyway, I got them. If I didn't get them, how would I feel now? Probably sad, but not like the world is over. I will probably continue to look for a pair of pants that are like that. The overall essence is abundance. Okay, now I've given you 2 conceptual tips. I'm gonna give you some actual timing and strategy type thing. Number 3, end of financial year sales, Black Friday sales, end of year sales, and stock take sales. These come in cycles. Like all things come in cycles. Sale time always comes. When you're looking at building your wardrobe in a long-term way, you're gonna find that there's no haste in buying something. Let's just be super specific. The blazer which I displayed in part 1, and the blazer, I've also displayed this blazer in my TikTok video. So this is originally over $800. To me, I am not yet at the phase where I'm like, cool. But I don't close off the phase of me arriving to that timing. Again, this is a whole topic around money mindset and abundance and everything, law of attraction, blah, blah, blah. But we're talking about fashion here, so we're gonna focus on that. So I never really close myself off to a price point and be like, nah, I will never spend that much on a jacket, because it's just not in alignment with my principles in life. But I will say, like, in this moment in time, $800 on an investment jacket is probably above my comfort zone, and I'm happy to stretch my comfort zone, but it's probably a bit too much. And then that and other parts of life, you know, whatever, getting it at 50% off is within my comfort zone, and I think that is such a great deal. Especially, you know, this blazer is 100% wool. Just know that there is always a difference in quality of fabrics. You can buy something that's 100% wool and it will be a fraction of the cost of that. It might be $200, $100, and then you can buy something that's 100% wool and then it's like $1,000, and you're like, well, what's the difference? There's just different grades, and the lining is also different, and just there's so many things that are different about it. However, this particular jacket, I love everything about it. The color, the lightweightedness of the wool. So the thing about wool is it's breathable. Wool doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna be like super hot. It just means that it's breathable, and it's probably a bit more, can be taken through the seasons because of the quality of this. It's lightweight. Beautiful.
What are we talking about again?
So let's say you see this jacket and it's far out of your capacity or your comfort zone, and then you kind of go, okay, I'm going to put this on my list so that when sale time comes, if it's available, I will buy it then. If it's not available, that's fine. New designs will come around over and over. But what I like to do, knowing that there are specific sale seasons, from the moment I decided to upgrade my wardrobe incrementally, I would set aside a budget. It's cool to set a budget because, you know, when you're like constantly buying stuff, you just feel like it's kind of like this stop, should I not? Whereas if you actually set a budget, then you're pretty well set in saying, yep, I'm ready to spend this, and it becomes a more enjoyable experience. So what you do is you just set a budget that you are happy to spend during a time where you'll be able to take your dollar further, because you'll be able to buy more. I would do this for end of financial year sales, Black Friday sales. In the essence of spending this budget wisely, instead of having a list of things I know I want and only sticking to that. So I'll have that list, but it doesn't mean like this is all we're gonna get. If I see other pieces that aren't within that list but have characteristics of garments that are timeless, right? So generally what this means is like minimal embellishments, fits you really well, flatters you really easily. It's not so strict on colors, but if it is of a color that is easily integrated in your current wardrobe, like you don't need to buy any other colors to make this piece work. Even if it wasn't on the list, if it's all of those things, then I'll go, yeah, budget goes to this. But sometimes you might not even spend all of your budget. You know, sometimes during these sale seasons, you don't necessarily find everything that you want, but you are financially prepared to make it rain. So that's really fun. During this time as well, like when I set my budget and I go, oh, I didn't find anything really nice for myself, but I found something really nice for my partner, then I get him something, or I get something for my mum, because now I know what I'm looking for and I was prepared to spend it anyway. Otherwise, I roll over that budget into the next sale season. And that's a beautiful thing about building your capsule wardrobe over a period of time. And I guess it reinforces the idea that there's no need to rush, because buying timeless pieces means that you don't need to get things right away unless it's like fully imminent and you need it for some reason, like work. Okay, point number 4, outlets. All right, you know what? Outlets, love them. The cool thing about the digital age now is that there are online outlets. So I discovered thedom.com. Actually, they reached out to me, and honestly, with any partnership that I have, I do this major deep dive and full investigation of who I'm partnering with, because I feel very accountable and very responsible for the things that I put out there and say, hey, I recommend this. So like for full transparency, I receive a lot of inbound requests for partnerships, and there's a high portion of those requests that don't go through. They're unsuccessful. Unsuccessful being we don't proceed with partnership. That's for a whole other topic. When I looked at the DOM, one of the things that really got me, like I was like, yes, I like this, is because the labels that you can buy through them, because they don't stock them, you can buy it through them, and then the brands will ship independently or separately, are a lot of really high quality, well-designed Australian brands that don't really do outlet sales sales, or they're not easy to find to be on sale to begin with. So brands like St. Agni, Ginger and Smart, Lee Matthews, Alame, there's like a lot, there's a ton. In short, I like the brands that you can buy through them. Here's a couple of tips around buying and shopping savvy. Don't just buy no. It's not that strict. One mindset that I had to get out of was like buying something because it's on sale. I know that sounds like super straightforward, but like avoid buying something just because it's on sale, even if it's from a brand that you really like. If it's from a brand that you really like and it really doesn't have a place in the wardrobe that you're building and the style that you're building, there is no need to buy it then, because what you can do is take what you would have spent on that, add it to, you know, whatever else you would have spent on something else, and then just go and buy something that really is for your wardrobe. You know what's a good example of this? And I'm saying this because this is me. I'd go to, let's say, DFO. DFO is direct factory outlet. It's near the airport. Every state in Australia has it. I used to just be like, I love this. I'd go to Nike and it might be during their sale time and I'd be like, oh yeah, these are nice, I don't know, gym shorts, whatever. And I'm like, it has no place in my wardrobe. But then I'm like, oh, but you know, it's Nike and you know, it's nice. It's got a nice color and it's got all these nice characteristics. And then I do it and I might wear it for a while, but didn't really do much to actually elevate my entire wardrobe. For that thing to work and for it to be nice, it needed something else and it needed to be this and it needed to be that. And so what I could have just done was taken the money that I would have spent on those shorts, spent on something else that was on sale, that was kind of like very niche as well, combine that budget and then buy something else that I would have really liked. And so
I don't know why I use Nike as an option, because actually a lot of everything that I bought from Nike has been spot on.
that was one of the first habits I had to drop right from the beginning. It was like my brain was like, oh, sale from a brand that I like, oh, no, I'm attracted to it, you know, and plus it would be super sale, it'd be like $10. And then you're like, oh yeah, $10 you can't lose. But then it's like, actually, there is kind of a loss. When you add that thing that you bought for $10 because it used to be $110 and now you've only spent $10, no, you lose the space in your wardrobe for something that really belongs in that wardrobe. So even if it's only $10, take that $10 and add it to, you know, the other money, add it to something else that you would have gone $10 here, $10 there, $10 there, $10. No, there's kind of like no point in having 5 to 7 $10 items that are kind of like, that's okay, that's nice, it's kind of nice, and just have one thing that's like $70 that might have been 120. Maybe it's like 70 down from 100, and so you feel like your saving is less, your spend is more, but you actually love this one, even if it's like a tank top, right? It sounds so simple. I know that this is the kind of mental kind of back and forth I would have gone through in the past, because for me back then, quantity could potentially equal quality, especially if it's from a nice brand, especially if it's like extra sale. But then, for example, these Shona Joy shorts that we got Cola at $230 would have seemed very unreasonable for me back then, because I would be like, oh, I could get 3 shorts or 4 shorts or 5 shorts for this price on sale. These were the shorts that had the cut, the color, the fabric, and that's it. That's all she needs. She doesn't need X amount of all the other similar shorts that almost cut it. The fabric is almost just as good. The last point here is all about adding to the savviness. Less embellishments is more. And that's because if you're thinking about a timeless piece, something that you're really going to invest in that's going to go the distance not just of time, but of design. And we talk about this in the Ultimate Style Accelerator a lot. When you buy things that have embellishments like bows or colors or prints or designs like patterns, that ushers any piece, whether it's a top, a bottom, anything, a shoe, it ushers it into a specific style genre. For example, think of bohemian. Let's say, think of the bohemian style genre. It's kind of like, you can imagine flowy dresses, you imagine the print, the paisley print, you know, you have all of these characteristics that contribute to that style. And then when you have that style as your personal style, you kind of introduce other pieces, like your shoes would match that. So instead of plain black boots, you might have cowboy boots because it works really well together. So you'll notice that all of these colors and fabrics and patterns, they all contribute to one cohesive look. However, if you're buying investment pieces which have specific characteristics like this, like print and color and texture, and you're buying it as an investment piece, it will likely impact its longevity and wearability in your wardrobe because it has so much specificity to it. I'm not saying don't do this. Honestly, let's do what makes us aligned. You know, if it makes you feel in alignment and all of that, then 100% there's no one to stop you. And this is not about stopping you from doing the things that bring you joy and buying the things that bring you joy. This is more from the perspective of, if you're going to make investment pieces and you're thinking, okay, what's something that I can invest in that I'll get so much wear out of, and how do I access that without directly impacting my budget in a negative way? You know what? Honestly, these things can look plain. You look at a black leather handbag, it looks plain. It's the minimalism, it's the attention to the shape of the bag can directly impact the way that it looks elevated. Just the shape. Doesn't need to have prints, doesn't have to have all of these extras to it to make it be elevated. I want to end this series with a couple of notes. Now, in my previous video, in part 1, we talked about investment pieces, and I mentioned that a belt may not be an investment piece for everyone. It's someone who will use that belt. While a piece may not necessarily be categorized as something worth investing in, it's not necessarily to say that it's not worth getting a good quality piece. Let's just talk about leather. Sometimes there's leather that costs so much more than this, but they're both leather. The thing to know about purchasing pieces that you will wear in general, whether it's an investment piece or not, is that getting something of high quality, it's always a good priority, especially if you're building your wardrobe in a long-term way. A belt is one thing in particular to buy as good quality, because when you buy low quality belts, they actually get damaged in such a way, it's completely detrimental to your entire outfit. So there are certain items which, when they deteriorate in a way that's very full on. No, it's so visual. When a belt is made of a lower quality material, when it starts to break, it will break in one section and it will crack on all other sections. And so it would definitely be better to not wear that belt, or not wear a belt at all, rather than having that belt for a little bit of function, because it will impact the full look. This goes as well for bags, like bag strap. Let's say it's a backpack. There are some things which, when they wear and tear, when it happens, it's so very visual. While you might not necessarily go for a full investment piece, it's still worth getting something of good quality. Now, my final tip, and this is more of a bonus, when it comes to investment pieces and attaining them, I don't know if you resonate with this, but you know when people go, what do you want as a present for your birthday? What do you want as a present for Christmas? And you go, oh, I want nothing. Well, you can put your favorite items or the things that you want into that list. And maybe it's not necessarily for someone else to gift you, but it might be something that you gift yourself. And so when it comes to building your wardrobe in a long-term way, it's really fun to be able to turn over from, you know, things that you would have bought in the past that would have been okay back then, but is actually part of your development process and something that you start trickling in. So for me, that would be jewelry. So you might have your capsule collection jewelry, but because, let's say with what I wear, it's always very simple. Like, it's classic pieces, so often things with a collar, button down, you know, it's often a tank top with a different shape, or pants. I tend to not really get a lot of these beautiful voluminous sleeves. I don't have a lot of statement pieces. I have a lot of classic pieces that can be dressed up and dressed down. And so therefore, when it comes to investing in certain things, and the thing that I love the most is jewelry, because you can buy them in sets, but you don't have to buy them in sets in one go. You can be like, I'm getting the earrings today, and I'm gonna get the set necklace next time. And when you find brands that build on their collections rather than release something, completely discontinue it and come out with something new, then you might have just found your favorite new brand to collect from. So I kind of see jewelry as something you can collect. So F&H Studios is really like, I can't veer away from it. Honestly, everything that they have just builds on the next. And because they're designer, she has a very specific style, and I found that style to be one that I really resonate with. And I'm just like, yeah, let's polish off every outfit with these. That's one that you can sort of like integrate bit by bit. That brings us to the end of this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. I don't know, I had a vision for this video and what we were going to talk about, but I think we covered a few more things that I don't know that I really prepared for, but I'm happy that I covered. And that was mainly the whole like money thing. I don't know, I just feel like money is such a sensitive topic. Some people will say talking about money is tacky. So I know that I'm one who really loves to hear stories around that kind of involve money, because I realize, like, how do you know how to spend money if it's not for how you're brought up, like your family? Because you don't really learn about how to sort of spread your budget in school. And unless you sign up to some sort of financial money mindset, financial management kind of thing, you pretty much just DIY. I personally really enjoy hearing people share certain areas of how like money is and how they do it, because it's like super insightful. And so there's my contribution, there's my 2 cents around investment pieces, not from a financial advice perspective, but more from the context of where I came from and my journey with fashion and finances. Hey, anyone doing a workshop on that? Because I'd be keen to go. All right, well, I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you like this video, please give us a like. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do. It's new to me to receive some requests on YouTube, so please know I'm taking note of these requests and we produce them as we go. All right, see you in the next video. Bye.